Story 1. Kindness on the road means not unnecessarily giving away your right of way. Don't be polite. Be predictable. Stick to the traffic laws. Story 2. Risking your health or life due to peer pressure can have serious consequences. Many college students and others have died as a result of shooting games, drug binges, and dangerous stunts. Story 3. A line of paint will not protect you on a road or highway. Saying, "Oh, it's fine. I'm behind the white line," means nothing. Story 4. Tailgating while driving has no justification and places people in undeniable danger. Story 5. I tried to let a guy out of a parking lot in New York City when I was 19, and he flipped me off and screamed, "That's why we always have traffic. Nice guys like you." I learned my lesson that day in the most New York way possible. Story 6. Binge drinking damages your body significantly, and being young offers no protection from long-term effects. Story 7. Cemeteries are full of people who had the right of way and assumed everyone around them would honor it. Practice defensive driving and the Smith system. Story 8. Shockingly, and this may be hard to believe, not all women's pain can be attributed to menstrual issues. If you are experiencing severe pain in your abdominal area, especially during your menstrual period, you should not be dismissed by doctors with mere suggestions of pain relievers. Could be a serious condition. Story 9. Thinking that your sense of self and satisfaction comes from the world and how it perceives you, rather than from within and how you perceive the world. Story 10. Violence against criminals in prison does nothing to stop the cycle of violence, and only creates more dangerous individuals when they are released onto the streets. Story 11. Allowing companies to collect and sell your data while providing you with the news and content they choose for you. Story 12. Any strict, extremist point of view, whether cultural, religious, or political, tends to lead to negative outcomes. History shows that governing a large population, such as a nation, based on a single extremist ideology rarely results in positive consequences. Story 13. In a large group of people deciding what to do, driven by the loudest and most impulsive members, nearly everyone is influenced. Story 14. The Congress can decide not to verify the votes of the Electoral College. The Constitution does not mention this and does not grant them the power to do so. It explicitly states that their role is only to count the votes. Story 15. There are two sides to every story. It is technically true, but that does not mean both sides are equal or should receive the same treatment. Story 16. Piercing a baby's ears is a significant decision. Piercings are not temporary. They leave a scar. The risk of infection when piercing an area that can come in contact with saliva and other substances is high. It is better to wait until the child is around 4 years old, when they can express their desire for earrings and may be more capable of avoiding constant touching. Story 17. That women can't be abusers or men can't be victims. My parents' main critique of May December is that even after watching the whole movie, they cannot accept the idea that a woman was a groomer. That shocked me so much that I didn't want to talk to them for a few days. Story 18. Everyone is experiencing the same reality. Two people can go through the exact same scenario and still come away with different perspectives. Story 19. All the conspiracy theories about Jewish people being evil and running the world, and being the cause of all the bad things, are often absurd. If you follow these theories deeply enough, you often find they blame all the negative events on globalists or a global cabal, which usually points to Jewish people. It's a recurring theme in these narratives. I wish we had even a fraction of the power that these conspiracy theorists claim we have. Story 20. Discrimination against homeless people is a serious issue. Realistically, the majority of people are only a hospital bill or two away from homelessness themselves. The idea that every homeless person is a drug addict who could never contribute anything to society is not only incorrect but also harmful, as it makes it much harder for them to get help. I remember being told not to give homeless people money because they would just buy drugs and alcohol. I now realize how misguided that notion is. Yes, some individuals may misuse the money. However, I would rather offer support to someone in need than refuse aid out of prejudice. Additionally, hostile architecture raises serious concerns. Why is it necessary? These individuals are already struggling, and this type of design is inconvenient for everyone regardless of wealth. Considering a person to be undesirable is not an excuse to treat them as less than human, yet many people seem to believe that those without a guaranteed place to sleep each night are somehow inferior. Story 21. People often underestimate that babies and toddlers can experience trauma, even though they may not consciously remember it. However, they absolutely can and do experience it. There are therapies designed specifically for young children, such as play therapy. In play therapy, children have numerous toys to choose from to recreate their experiences and process their emotions with a professional. Story 22. The entire anti-vaccine movement is based on lies and used to manipulate gullible people. It might be one of the bigger ills of our society. Once a more fringe ideology, things came to a head at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic as many more people started coming out as anti-vaccine. It felt like the year the anti-vaccine movement went mainstream. It is literally dangerous. The resurgence of preventable diseases that had been gone for decades is proof that this is not just a harmless conspiracy theory. It is actually harmful to people in real-world ways. How many vaccine deniers have also died from COVID-19 when they could have simply taken the vaccine? Edit. Why are the top answers all related to cars? I wasn't aware that dangerous ideologies in cars are the greatest ill in society. That said, driving a 2-ton vehicle is actually dangerous, so I guess it technically counts. Story 23. Cutting the social safety net in the belief that trickle-down economics is an effective system. Story 24. The trend of people freehand climbing very tall buildings often leads to accidents, as they believe it is exhilarating and impressive. Story 25. Building larger highways will ease traffic. Requiring new stores to have parking lots will help alleviate parking congestion. Story 26. Putin is not an enemy to every individual in the West. Russia has openly declared the West as its enemy since Putin took charge and has threatened nuclear attacks on many Western countries. Yet, some individuals defend Russia and seek to abandon the European nation facing genocide at his hands. Story 27. The anti-vaccine movement would not have caused so many deaths if Andrew Wakefield had never published the article claiming that vaccines cause autism. Story 28. Skipping vaccines because someone on a podcast said it is okay. We now have polio and measles, and who knows what else is resurfacing because of this. Story 29. Denying well-established scientific facts, such as the reality of climate change, the effectiveness of vaccines, or the theory of evolution, undermines progress and endangers public health and environmental sustainability. Story 30. Raw milk is becoming a trend, and many are forgetting the reasons we began processing it. Bacteria, including Staphylococcus and fecal bacteria, can thrive on udders. They are only 24 inches away from the cow's rear, and it is hard to believe drinking milk fresh from that area is healthy. Additionally, diseases like vaccinia and bovine tuberculosis, though rare, still exist in America and can be devastating, particularly for children. Bovine tuberculosis can severely affect bones if contracted early in life, known as Pott's disease. Historically, in 1891, 1 in 4 infants died before reaching the next stage of life, largely due to diseases often spread through raw milk. After the introduction of pasteurization, the infant mortality rate decreased to 1 in 14. Story 31. That only white people are able to be racist or that white people are incapable of being victims of racism is not true. Anyone can be racist, and anyone can be a victim of racism. Racism is wrong no matter who it is directed towards or who it comes from. Story 32. Using deontology as a universal normative ethical approach involves applying your ideas or beliefs about what is right and wrong to everyone, regardless of their identity or circumstances. Story 33. Sitting too close to the television ruins your eyesight. This is an old wives' tale with no scientific backing. Story 34. Anyone can be rich and famous if they work hard. Everyone has a purpose in life, and it is not necessarily to be rich and famous. Some people's purpose is to be a good parent, while others are meant to be athletes, and so on. Story 35. I keep seeing people who don't work with knives giving the worst advice about them. They claim it is more dangerous to cut towards yourself, which is a misconception. Here are some professional applications where cutting towards yourself is appropriate. Cutting insulation, stripping wire, detailed wood carving, scoring glass and tile, cutting drywall, cutting shingles, slicing food, and paper crafts, to name a few. You have zero control when cutting away from your body. Story 36. The idea that God punishes nations that turn their backs on him motivates and empowers believers to impose their beliefs on everyone in that society. Story 37. You can trust the government. Sugar is safe. Alcohol is not a drug. All those preservatives that are banned in other countries are acceptable. Wealthy individuals deserve their wealth, and attractive people are often considered more moral than those who are not. Story 38. The middle lane on a 6-lane highway, with 3 lanes in each direction, is often referred to as the travel lane in the United States. Most areas with a 6-lane highway or interstate are urban. It is also common for trucks or vehicles over a certain weight to be prohibited from using the left lane. This creates significant hazards because drivers may move to the middle lane, traveling 5 to 10 miles per hour below the speed limit. This situation forces larger vehicles either to pass on the right or to break the law by passing on the left. Additionally, faster vehicles in the left lane often make sudden maneuvers to the right at the last second, bypassing the middle lane to minimize their deceleration. Much of the traffic congestion and many accidents on the highway stem from this travel lane confusion. It's straightforward. Slower traffic should keep right and move left to pass. Story 39. Religion, particularly the indoctrination of children, is concerning. Teaching kids not to question is detrimental to their development. Story 40. Exploiting your own children for content on social media is concerning. Children have no understanding of their digital footprint and do not have a say in it. There should be laws against exploiting children for attention, but many accounts continue to do so. Story 41. If I work hard and do 150% of the norm, my boss will appreciate it, give me a raise, and promote me. However, he will not. He will simply make your 150% the new standard and force everyone else to match it. When they cannot, he will cut their salaries, and you will just burn out your health for a boss who does not appreciate your efforts. Story 42. Being pessimistic or adopting a doomer mindset is not clever or mature. Pessimism prevents action because it leads you to believe and attempt to convince others that everything is hopeless. Ignoring positive changes means we cannot build upon them. Story 43. I'm sorry, I haven't read the other responses, but pouring ice-cold water on an unsuspecting person could be dangerous. The same goes for events that involve dipping into freezing water. This can create a startling experience, potentially causing a surge of adrenaline in someone with a heart condition, which could lead to an unexpected tragedy. Story 44. Putting total trust in the government and politicians to do what is best for you is a mistake. They are not your friends and will not look out for your interests. They do not care about you. Story 45. Collectivism. Once you start defining individuals only as members of a group, you invariably make things worse. Story 46. Urban areas are often associated with welfare recipients. However, the opposite is true. Rural white populations benefit from such programs at a higher percentage. Story 47. The right to protest includes the right to make others listen by stopping people from peacefully going about their business under the threat of state violence. Story 48. The idea that you have to respect anyone's ideas and opinions, even if they are complete nonsense, is a real problem. Story 49. Tailgating someone while driving has no justification and puts people in undeniable danger. Story 50. Believing that success and wealth in America are merit-based is common. While hard work and intelligence play a role, the influence of luck, such as being born to affluent parents or being in the right place at the right time, is often underestimated. Unfortunately, as the wealthy manipulate the system in their favor, the belief in merit prevents the average person from criticizing them. Story 51. Thinking that banning hunting will free the animals is misguided. They will still die, often in much more horrific and prolonged ways. Additionally, the absence of hunting can lead to increased issues with nuisance animals. For example, New Jersey had to reinstate bear hunting after problems with nuisance bears rose by over 200%. Interestingly, there is evidence that in some species, such as coyotes, hunting pressure can separate packs and increase reproduction. Story 52. Separate but equal remains a popular concept today. Women's only gyms are an example, illustrating that this idea is still problematic. Story 53. All political sides have their issues, and it is not accurate to say that both political parties in the United States are identical or that taking a middle approach is always the most reasonable stance. Story 54. There is an afterlife that will reward or punish your adherence to any religion or ideological belief. Creates moral blindness. Story 55. You must remain calm and composed even when it feels like someone has wronged you. Instead of reacting, keep your feelings in check. Maintain full control of the situation. Being unpredictable can make you appear intimidating. The greatest discomfort you can cause someone is to place them in a situation where they are unsure how to respond. Responding contrary to their expectations often leaves them unsettled. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.